Hi, I'm Wayde Kirvida from CustomFIRE, and behind me is a new pumper about to go to one of my favorite places in the country, Spearfish, South Dakota. This is the latest of 3 pumpers we've built for Spearfish over the years. They've always liked the Spartan chassis, the top mount pump configuration, and then a fairly short body with hinged doors. Now, Spearfish likes their trucks to be short and maneuverable. This truck is 32 feet 2 inches long and 10 foot 2 inches tall. It has a hydraulic ladder rack, a stainless steel pumper body, obviously hinged doors, and in the top mount pump module we have a Waterous 1500 2-stage fire pump. It's the CMU full-bodied fire pump. The pump is equipped with master discharges on each side, 6-inch intakes on each side, and then an additional 2.5-inch discharge on the officer side. It also has 2.5-inch auxiliary intakes on each side. Inside that stainless pumper body is a 1,000-gallon poly tank. This truck weighs 40,000 pounds loaded with water, and the cab is the Metro Star 10-inch raised roof with an MFD length. So it's 54 inches from the axle to the back of cab. It's probably the shortest comfortable 4-door in their lineup, but again, trying to keep the overall length manageable. The interior of this cab has seating for 6, 4 in the rear, 2 in the front, and then an EMS cabinet behind the engine tunnel. I'm going to point out some features on this truck that might not be obvious at first glance. Rather than using aluminum tread brake on a lot of the typical surfaces, we went with brushed stainless steel. So you have a stainless steel running board, hose well, rub rails, tailboard, and then the apparatus body is actually mostly unpainted. You'll notice that the front body corners, the hose bed riser, and then the rear body corners are natural brushed stainless finish, which means that we really just painted the wheel well and then the door posts between the upper compartments. So we're up at the top mount pump panel, and across the upper level we have innovative controls, T-handles. You squeeze to release the detent pin, and then you can pull into position. We have the fire research pump boss pressure governor, pump cooling valve, heat exchanger valve, tank level gauges, and then across the bottom row we have electric controls for the passenger side master, the deck gun, and then over here the driver's side discharge. Also on this truck we have air operated intakes and then Waterous electric primer. We have a pre-primer for each side intake, so you can prime the valve before you open it. That way the transition from the booster tank to like a portable tank is very streamlined and error-free. The air-operated intakes are a large butterfly valve. We have a paddle-style actuator on them. We've been using these for decades, and they're extremely reliable, and they're open or closed. So using those with a pre-primer is a great efficient approach to rural firefighting. In the lower portion here, you'll notice that the crosslays are behind the cab rather than like speed lays under the controls or a crosslay overhead. This is a great feature because they're very easy to load. They carry ample hose. You can deploy them obviously to both sides, but when you do deploy, you're less likely to create an obstacle from the pump operator towards the apparatus body and the side of the pump panel if the hoses were deploying out here. And because they are located here, we have these nice large access panels into the fire pump for service. We have a fixed post here with a flip down step to provide additional reach to the deck gun. And then on the side, with pretty much every pump module we make, we have nice large lift up inspection doors and then large removable panels on each side. So, you know, really serviceability over the life of the truck is a pretty key feature that you want in your apparatus. You know, you're better to, you know, if you're paying a mechanic to do valve repair or just, you know, routine maintenance, it's nice to just have the panels removed so you're paying them to do the work rather than access the issue. In my role as a salesperson for CustomFIRE, I can attest to the notion that there's more interest in slam doors or hinged doors these days. Roll-up doors are great when they're open because, you know, they're out of the way, but they also rob you of some compartment space. They're a bit more difficult to live with over time because their action isn't as fresh as the day it's new. Whereas hinge doors, you know, they operate very well over the life of the vehicle. This truck is another example of that, with slam doors. Now this is a bit different in the fact that we have 2 upper level doors and then 2 lower level compartments versus like the 3 segment, you know, full height, upper level, full height. But nevertheless, hinge doors. Our doors are 2 inches thick, they're filled with foam, and then they're flush with the body when you slam them shut. Underneath the lift-up doors, we have a couple recessed LED lights, and you can tell that the doors have been set at a bit of a slope, so the lighting will be projected back towards the apparatus body. And then in the wheel well, we have storage for 3 air bottles. We have a marine-style bow light in the wheel well to kind of shed light to the rear while backing up. And then of course the fuel fill and a Wayland M6 warning light. The compartments are featured with pack track upper level, adjustable shelf. We do have duplex power points in the compartments, and then down below we have a pull-out floor tray, and then another pull-out tray with raised sides, presumably to keep gear contained and from, you know, rocking out of place. The back end of this truck has a bit of a unique arrangement, common for spearfish, but unique versus what we typically do. We have a couple compartments down below, a couple compartments up above, and then, you know, a traditional large center compartment with a roll-up door. We have 2 2.5-inch discharges, a camera eye, and then a traffic bar. And then of course our swing out drop down ladder on the driver's side. Up above on the driver's side we have a couple exposed hose troughs for hard suction hose, and then a ladder rack with additional suction hose storage, and, you know, obviously the ladders. With everything open and exposed, you can see that they have fire extinguisher storage down below. It's a kind of a shallow area to the rear of the deep section of the side compartments. And that's why it's separate from the upper one, because the upper one is quite long. Got storage for backboards and struts over here, and then of course another extinguisher over there. And then a feature we see on more and more apparatus is the Lazy Susan rescue tool mount. This one is made by FMI and features brackets for 3 rescue tools. And then we put a pan up in the compartment set at an angle where they can mount rechargeable batteries for their cordless tools. And then finally we have Wayland M6 series lighting in the lower level. We have the M9 VC, which are the combination warning and scene lights upper level. Those come on with a scene light switch as well as reverse. We have a Wayland PS tank level light on the upper right, and then the hose bed is your traditional hose bed with 3 adjustable dividers. But one thing that kind of caught my eye that is unique is that we did some vertical rollers on each side, presumably to keep the hose from, you know, draping across the handrails as you deploy it. All right, I turned the truck around to get the sun on this side. We're on the opposite side of the truck. And you see that we have lift-up doors flanking a center ladder rack arm with the suction box, the attic ladder, and then the roof and extension ladder. The wheel well on this side has been held lower, and I can tell that because we don't have the 3-place air bottles. When we have just single bottles, we can drop that wheel well height about 4 inches. It provides more height in the compartments up above, and so, you know, those doors are about 4 inches taller than on the driver's side. Down below the walkway on each side we have some nice flush fit doors for additional storage, another hose trough, and then you might notice that we have the FoamPro power fill foam refill system. It's electronically driven. You just drop a wand in a pail, hit auto, it'll start drafting foam and shut off when the foam level gauge is full. And then you put it into the flush cycle, drop in a pail of water, and flush the system out. A feature of CustomFIRE apparatus bodies has long been the beveled front corner, and we retain that design on this truck. It keeps the handrail recessed, makes it less of an obstruction for the pump, and just a nice design detail. As with the driver's side, you know, lift up doors raised, we have lighting on the back side of the door skin, pull-out trays on the lower level, adjustable shelves, pack track, and then duplex 120-volt outlets in the upper level compartments. So we'll end the video at the beginning of the truck. We're at the front end here. We have some rotobeam Wayland lights above the headlights, inboard M6 flashers, a severe duty front bumper with a center speaker, an officer side recessed cue, and then air horns on the driver's side. The bumper is not your typical 24-inch. It appears to be 16 or 18 inches in length, and we have kind of a skinny yet wide hose well for like 150 feet of 1 3/4. But one thing that might have caught your eye, which is probably more common than you think, but still looks a little unorthodox, are the different mirrors on the front of the truck. We have a traditional door-mounted driver's side mirror, and then a bus-style mirror on the front officer side cowl. And the reason for that is that it gives the driver a clear view of the mirror without the officer position blocking the view out the side glass. I'm Wayde Kirvida from CustomFIRE. We really appreciate the time you take to watch these videos and check out our products. If you're in the market for a new pumper or rescue or tanker or any combination thereof, please look us up at CustomFIRE.com. Thanks for watching. Should I say good morning? Happy Sunday. This pump is a 2-stage.
Oh yeah, it is.
God, and I did such a good job on that intro. I just saw the transfer valve door. This truck has 2 forward-facing seats. I'm going to point out a couple features on this truck that might stand out but might not be obvious. Why would they stand out if they're not obvious? I mentioned earlier that this... I didn't mention earlier. I mentioned earlier. I'll mention now again. I will say that in my activities as a salesperson for CustomFIRE, they're a bit less nice to live. They're a bit, this has more of a, traditional layout with the lift up uppers, and then the, it's not a traditional layout. It's, okay. We have like a marine. And then what we see on more and more apparatus is and everything sits a little bit lower. I would imagine it would have to, because I'm going to use my sophisticated measuring process. Yes, it is lower. And we have kind of a narrow, wide. We're going to wrap it up right now. We got the Spartan Metro Star chassis with the drop-down grille, a severe duty bumper, Q siren, speaker, air horns, really skinny bumper well for like 100 feet or something like that. 2 different mirrors, what the hell? I'm Wayde Kirvida. Can't even say that. I'm Wayde with a Y Kirvida.